Yet no oath or bond is laid on you to go further than you will, for you do not yet know the strength of your hearts, and you cannot foresee what each may meet upon the road. Faithless is he that says farewell when the road darkens, said Gimli. Maybe, said Elrond, but let him not vow to walk in the dark, who has not seen the night fall. Yet sworn word may strengthen quaking heart, said Gimli. Or break it, said Elrond. Look not too far ahead, but go now with good hearts. Welcome to episode 2 of 6 Lines. I'm going to be discussing 6 lines that we've already seen from the Lord of the Rings, particularly from the Fellowship of the Ring. So I'll crack on with the discussion about them. And line 1 is where Elrond is saying to the company that nobody has to go further than they will. So at the point at which they feel that they can't go any further, then that would be them. I suppose Boromir is thinking, you go one way, this is where we go. They have sort of different ideas of what the ring is in the first place anyway. And he would rather it go to Minas Tirith. So the hobbits set out, particularly Frodo, on carrying the ring and only to go as far as he will, meaning as far as you actually go. And you could take it that it means farther than you don't go any further than your will take you, or something you agree on. You've got slightly different interpretations there. But then he says, for you do not yet know the strength of your hearts, and you cannot foresee what each may meet upon the road, i.e. individuals have different challenges, and people look at things differently. They have different strengths, different weaknesses, require different things on the road itself. And the road is the road to Mount Doom, into Mordor, but it's also the road as in their own journey, their inner journey. And so he's sort of saying you do not know the strength that you will have right up until the point that you need that strength, and therefore don't overextend yourself in that way. And Gimli responds, says, faithless is he that says farewell when the road darkens. Now, fair weather friends, we all tend to know what that is if we speak English or can translate it well. And I suppose that's what Gimli's saying. He's referring to people who say, yep, I'll commit to that. And then their faith shakes and they give up when things get tough. And Elrond responds by saying, maybe. So he doesn't dismiss Gimli. He instead is more circumspect in that way. And probably like more of us should be, particularly myself. I would look at myself and include myself in that. And I think that's the beauty of Tolkien's writing. You can see in the Hobbits the bits of yourself. You can see what you would hope to be in terms of, say, Aragorn. You see somebody who is taken over by desire for the ring because it is, if you like, the flaw in man, and then regrets it and then tries to redeem himself. And I think he does redeem himself. Yes, it splits the company, and you could look at predetermination in a religious sense and think, well, that was destined to happen. But Tolkien here sort of, to me, isn't looking at predestination. If you look at his Catholicism doesn't really, to me, and my experience of it, is something that looks at the church, the rites and passages of that church. Whereas, say, something like Baptist ministers who adopt Calvinism and the Calvinistic approach from John Calvin of Switzerland, they would say, well, no, you're predestined. So the only good things you can do are you destined to do, but the bad things you do, you make your choice on. And then there's the thing of free will. And he comes, to me, Elrond comes down on the side of free will. And he also hints at the fact that because we're all fallible, we will all get to a point at which you cannot continue. And that's about the strength of your own heart. So he points at the fact that we're fallible. And then he says, so you will do according to yourself, according to your own wishes, according to your own strengths, according to what's in your heart. And Elrond continues and says, but let him not vow to walk in the dark who has not seen the nightfall. Obviously, Elrond has seen what they're going up against. And he's looking at the company, all of them, and saying, this is sort of, in a way, as bad as it gets, without Sauron actually taking the ring back, obviously, or Sauron, as is said. So don't commit, don't vow to do something without knowing what you're truly getting into. And because none of them can really truly understand that, except maybe Gandalf, it's directed to the hobbits, the men, the elf, and the dwarf. And Gimli's quite right in a very humanistic sense, saying, faithless is he that says farewell when the road darkens. But that's not just that. It's quite simple, but it's also something that we, I think, in the general population would acknowledge was true, as being a true thing. But Elrond counters that, and I think he does it very carefully, but in a very gentle way, but really authoritatively as well. The next line is from Gimli, and he says, yet sworn word may strengthen quaking heart. It's true. It's about holding to the word, and the talk about holding after Gollum swears on the precious, that will hold him to his word, Frodo says. And obviously you've got the dual sides of Gollum. You've got the side that's murderous, and you've got the side that, and you obviously after the ring, but you've got the other side where that creature is, how could you say it, broken down by circumstances of life. He obviously already had it in him, the flaws, and the ring just exacerbated those. And it's the pride of men that it things, and the pride of men causes them to fall. So Gimli's line is good in terms of what we commonly believe. If somebody vows to do something, they swear to do it by an object or by a god, or it's different to committing. And he says about internally quaking heart, when things get bad, when the darkness is there, it's the vow that may hold you. And Elrond responds, all break it, said Elrond. Look not too far ahead, but go now with good hearts. And it's like he's getting to the end, and he says, well, I've said what I can said, but it may actually break it, because if you suffer from self-doubts, if you suffer from certain weaknesses and you're trying to overcome them, when you fall back again and you don't overcome, you might nearly get there, or you might completely fail. If you set yourself up to be, this is what I must achieve, it can often drag you back down. I find that myself. I find it, you say, I will go and do this. Now, New Testament, there are various parts where it says, don't say that you're going to do X, Y, or Z. I will go tomorrow and here, or next week we will do this, because that's down to God and what He wills for you. And it talks about pride being that. But I don't think that that's what he was saying in any of these passages, Tolkien. I think what he's doing, he's saying, don't commit to something when you haven't seen how hard it can be. And then if you do overcommit, then it may actually break you when you fail, when you feel that you failed. But just go as far as you can. Do as much as you can as an individual. And I think that, isn't that what we should all be doing? And I think that's the beauty of Tolkien's work. Well, one of the beauties of Tolkien's work is that with simple things like this, with this type of dialogue, he shows us that there are different viewpoints on things, and what's common to one set of people, i.e. people who haven't been involved in war, then they would say, okay, well, we'll go to war and we'll do this and we'll do that. And they may not be the ones going, or they might be going and relish it, but whether it's a modern war or a fantasy war, it then has a different effect upon, for want of a better term, the religious, the side of it, the soul, or just the spirit of that person, the psyche of that person. And serving in the military, which I haven't done, and millions of others have experienced loss and seen situations where things have gone wrong. And I think that's what Tolkien is alluding to as well, that the darkness you're going into, don't just rush it. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And that's what Elrond is sort of saying. That Gimli's partly right, yes, but don't be so sure. Don't rush in where angels fear to tread. Go as far as you can. Do what you can. And expect no more of yourself. We all know, sort of, to some extent, what we're capable of. Humanity's capable of terrible things and also great things. And I think across lots of different fields. And Tolkien sees that and wants humanity to go as far as it will, but to go with good hearts. Don't look too far ahead into the future. Look at what's now. Look into the future and act accordingly and do it with a good heart. And I don't think that's particularly Catholic or an Islamic or a Protestant or a Jehovah's Witness, Mormon type thing. I think it belongs to all humanity, and that's what makes Tolkien so great at times to read and reread. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will be editing bits out and things as I go, but I hope that was useful to people. If you look how he constructs his thoughts and expresses through dialogue, I think it's a pretty amazing passage. Cheers.